Hi, you've already read the title, so let's talk. I'm kind of weirded out to an extent about some of the moves that Outlaws are making. And although if I say that generally the go-to question is like, what, are you not okay with the Dreamer pickup? What's going on with that? No, I'm confused what they're doing, and obviously since this is coming from a main support specialist channel, I'm confused what they're doing between Juby and Jake, and I'm very I have no answer for this, and I don't know where this leaves Outlaws, where this leaves Juby, and where this leaves Jake individually, because this is gonna fuck the team over in the long run in my eyes. And it's very strange to me that you have, because again, I've reviewed Juby before. I have the video on my channel, and my opinion has not changed. I think Juby has insane potential, and why he keeps getting subbed out every series on the second map, and then it's a coin flip if Jake stays in, is alarming to me. And I guess why is the resounding question, but I don't have an answer for you, which is why I want to, I guess, kind of speak this into existence, because what the fuck is going on? I see Juby play, and Juby plays Lucio. That's fine. He's doing well on Lucio. That's fine. When I watched it, there were, a couple things that could have been buffed out, but statistically, he's doing fine. Everything is going well. As well as I looked at the Brig, and after looking at his Brig closely, I saw a lot of potential there. Why is Jake coming in? Because now you're taking all of this potential that you have in a new 18-year-old player that you could really develop and bring to be a stellar player, a star-studded player, that you're now throwing out the window because you want to focus on Jake. Why? Why is the question that I will keep bringing up over and over, because I do not have an answer. They might have an answer, and they, meaning their coaching staff, might have an answer, but I cannot come up with one reasonably. And the number one criticism, or the number one comeback from literally anyone else's perspective, whenever this gets brought up in general, the go-to thing is Jake's a leader. Jake brings that leadership to the team. He's a mental reset. Then why does he come in even if they're up a map? That is where I get disconnected. If this was a pattern, if this was a pattern for if they're down 2 maps, then Jake comes in, then boom, their mentals reset, they're going straight in a completely opposite trajectory of where they were going if they're down 2 maps, then I could understand. But I have no reasoning. There is no reasoning that I can think of. And I want more people to think about this, because this may have just helped them in their last series, which is very, very questionable if whether Juby or Jake being in had anything to do with how Outlaws played in their latest series. I can't remember who it was against, but that is a very scary thing to me, because I don't want to I don't like this inconsistency. Because let me say, if I were to tell you Jake has a better Brig than Juby, if I were to tell you Jake has a better Mercy than Juby, I would be lying to you. Because the amount of times watching back that VOD that Jake died first on things like Brig, things like Mercy, that can't happen. You're supposed to be playing a role that blends into the background. Act like it. That's why I'm not doing a review on Jake, because I don't care, and I don't think that he deserves to be playing. the way that I see it, and the way that I've kind of described it to other people, if I were to look at the bigger picture, look at the entirety of the Outlaws, and say, what is going on? Why is this change happening? I would personally say that it is because Jake just wants to play maps. And they really want to fit him into the roster, and in turn, it's fucking people over. Because now you have Juby, who has so much potential, and I've said it, and I will stick to it, that if Juby continues to grind and really hones in on his potential and does extremely well, polishes stuff up, he can be better than Moth. And definitely take the contendership spot for the best NA main support in Owl. 100%. And I reel this all back into why. Why is fucking Jake getting played on main support? There were memes about it. People saying Juby is so goddamn bad that Jake has to come in and play main support for him. That's not what's happening. Juby's doing fine. Statistically, just in general, Juby's doing fine. Why is this happening? And what I want to also introduce, because I'm not a fan of bringing up a lot of questions without having at least some sort of answers or some sort of alternate perspective. The perspective I want to give is, let's say hypothetically that this has nothing to do with gameplay. This is, Juby is better than Jake in every single main support category, as he is, and it's solely just for Jake's leadership. Does that not fuck over the comm structure or the structure in general of the Outlaws? Because once that leadership is gone, you know, if Juby's playing the first map consistently, where's that leadership in the first map? And why does it have to come in on the second map? Why? It doesn't make sense. I'm at a loss. But if we're looking at this and saying Jake is a leadership position right now, he's in a leadership position and he needs to stay there, where and when would Jake be able to transmit that leadership to Juby, to give someone, to pass the torch? Because if Jake is just known, Jake originally did get signed as a coach, and then it went into a two-way. It went into a coach-player. So if Jake joined as a coach, first and foremost, why is he being treated like a player first and foremost? He hasn't touched DPS, he's only touched main support. And that's really freaking me out, because I know that that's really gonna fuck them over in some of these series. And even if I'm not, like, what I'm confused about is, this was something that also, I tie this back to Dallas Fuel, early Dallas Fuel. Every other map, field or repel, field or repel, field or repel. Everyone was complaining, saying it's the exact same thing as Outlaws used to be, with Raucous Repel, Raucous Repel, Raucous Repel, just bouncing back and forth. And now that same thing's happening on the Outlaws, except sometimes they're not bouncing back and forth. Sometimes, especially in the most recent series, was Juby first map, Jake, the rest of the way. What is inspiring this? What is making this happen? And I don't ask that expecting an answer, but I ask that wanting more knowledge. I want to understand. But currently, looking at the bigger picture, I do not. And I brought up the comm structure earlier, and this is just to rehash on it a little bit. But what I mean by comm structure is, if you're telling me, because we don't know how Jake is. We know he's been said to, in multiple times, be a leader, in multiple times be this man of action, this guy who is really able to kind of weather the storm, if you will. So if that can only come through when Jake is in, why is he not telling other people? And okay, I don't want to say why isn't he just telling other people how to do it, because you can't make someone a leader. Someone has to have the leadership quality, and I understand that. But in this specific situation, you are giving up a mechanical advantage by putting Jake in, because you are absolutely deluded out of your mind if you think Jake is in any way, shape, or form better than Juby. And on top of that, you're trading it for comms that we might not even know that Juby might have. I just want clarity. And I don't look to vent to you guys and get an exact answer. I say this to speak my mind. And I say this to stop watching Overwatch League and at the end of every Outlaws game be like, man, they really lost that one map because they put Jake in. And people will meme, and people have memed about how Jake had more support map wins than Moth did for first 2 weeks, whatever it was. And people can meme all they want, but Jake is an objectively bad main support. I said on Twitter that Dredro, and this is a completely disconnected thing, but I'll tie it back, I promise. Dredro is the NA version of Friday. I don't think I was wrong. After watching the games, after watching all of the first deaths, I don't think I was wrong. Jake topped him in first deaths. I don't have access to specific statistics, but I almost guarantee you Jake died first more times any time that I was looking at the screen. And I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion to say that Jake is obscenely bad. Salvageable is a word that comes to mind. But is salvageable what we're really looking for? I just want to understand. I would be more than happy to understand the process or the thoughts that go into this. And don't get me wrong. If Jake had a better Brig or a better Mercy, I would 100% understand. If you're like, okay, Juby can just focus on Lucio and then Jake can work on the rest. If that was how this was going, I would be able to fuck with it. But it's not. And I'm scared. I'm very afraid for what's to come for the Outlaws, especially their backline. So, I mean, that's all I can think of. I am very at a loss. And I'm hoping I can get some clarity eventually, but my hopes are low. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys for watching. Follow me on Twitter so you know whenever I upload, and I will see you when I see you. Later.